Journey to the West, an audio drama series. Chapter 39, Part 1. We speak of great sage Sun, whose head was in excruciating pain when he begged, "Master, stop reciting, stop reciting. Let me revive him." The elder asked, "How will you do that?" Xingzhe answered, "All I have to do is pay a visit to the underworld bureaus and see which king has his soul. I will bring it back to revive him." Bajie interrupted, "Don't you believe him, master? He originally said there was no need to go through the underworld bureaus. Only by reviving him in the world above can he show off his skills." The master believed such mean words that he went back to reciting the tightening band spell. Panicking, Xingzhe gave in and repeated, "I will revive him in the living world, in the living world." Bajie said, "Don't you stop. Keep reciting, keep reciting." Xingzhe cursed, "You foolish creature, inciting master to recite that spell." Bajie laughed till he dropped and said, oh, big brother, all you do is play tricks on me, not knowing that I can do the same to you too." Xingzhe said, "Master, stop reciting, stop reciting. Elder Sun shall revive him in the living world." Sanzang asked, "How will you do that in the living world?" Xingzhe answered, "I will head out with my somersault cloud and go right into the southern gate of heaven. I won't enter the palace of Dipper and Bow or the hall of miraculous mist. Instead, I shall head straight above the heaven of 33 and into the courtyard of Dushta Palace in grieveless heaven. There, I will find the supreme and venerable elder and ask for a soul-restoring pellet of 9 turns. I guarantee that it will bring him back to life." Sanzang heard that and became overjoyed, saying, "Hurry up and go then." Xingzhe said, "It's already the 3rd watch now. By the time I return, the sky will be light. The only problem is that this man is just laying here silently in the cold, which doesn't look good. We've got to have mourners watching over him as they cry. That would be much better." Bajie said, "No need to explain. The monkey must want me to be the one crying." Xingzhe said, "And I fear you won't. If not, then I can't revive him either." Bajie replied, "Big brother, go ahead, won't you? Leave the crying to me." Xingzhe said, "There are several ways of crying. If you're just yelling with a dry mouth, that is called howling. If you're squeezing out tears by force, that's called weeping. Only when you cry, not just with tears, but from the heart, can it count as proper wailing." Bajie said, "Let me cry a bit for you to see." He pulled out a paper strip from who knows where and twisted it into a paper spill. After pushing it up his nose a couple of times, he let out several sneezes. Look at him getting all teary and drippy as he began to cry. Muttered from his mouth were colorful nonsense as if someone had really died. When the crying got emotional, even Elder Tang dropped a few tears and became troubled at heart. Xingzhe chuckled and said, "That's properly mournful. Don't you stop with the noise. You fool might con me into going before you stop crying, but I will still be listening. It will be fine if you keep on crying like this. Should the sound dim down a little bit, 20 hits on the ankle is guaranteed." Bajie laughed and said, Go now. Once I start crying, it will last a couple of days." Shamak saw them going on and on, so he went and found several incense sticks to burn as offering. Xingzhe laughed and said, very well indeed. Only when the whole family is showing respect can Elder Sun make the effort." Splendid great sage. It was around midnight when he bid farewell to the other 3. Unleashing his somersault cloud, he went through the southern gate of heaven. And indeed, he did not pay a visit to the treasure hall of miraculous mist, nor did he go up to the heavenly palace of Dipper and Bow. In glowing clouds, he came straight into the Dushta Palace, located at the grieveless heaven among the heaven of 33. Right as he entered the door, he saw the supreme and venerable elder sitting in the pellet room as he refined pellets with his many immortal youths who tended to the fire with banana leaf fans. When he saw Xingzhe approaching, he instructed the youths in charge of the pellets. "You've all got to be very careful. The thief who stole our pellets has returned." Xingzhe greeted and laughed, saying, "Old fellow, how very feckless you are. Why be on guard against me at all? I don't do those things now." The elder said, "You monkey created havoc in heaven 500 years ago when you stole and ate countless magical pellets of mine. When little sage Erlang captured you and brought you above, you were sent into my pellet furnace to be burnt for 49 days. Who knows how much coal you cost me? Now that you have fortunately found freedom and converted to the Buddha's fruit, you are tasked to help the Tang monk to West Heaven for scriptures. The other day you were subduing monsters on the flat-top mountain when you gave me a hard time and refused to return my treasures. What are you doing here today?" Xingzhe replied, "Elder Sun did not delay anything the other day and returned your 5 treasures on the spot. Why become skeptical and blame me instead?" The elder asked, "Why sneak into my palace instead of going on your way?" Xingzhe then told him all about the matter with the king of Black Rooster Kingdom before saying, "We moved his body back to the temple. My master saw him and, out of mercy, ordered Elder Sun to revive him. I am not allowed to retrieve his soul from the underworld and can only find a cure in the world above. I believe there is no place else that can do this, so I came to specifically pay you a visit. I pray that the patriarch of Taoism can have mercy and lend Elder Sun 1,000 pills of the soul-restoring pellet of 9 turns so I can save him." The elder said, "This monkey is speaking nonsense. What do you mean 1,000 or 2,000 pills? Do you think you're eating them like rice? Did you think I was molding them with mud from somewhere that makes the process so easy? Shoo! Leave now, I haven't got any." Xingzhe chuckled and said, 100 or so will do." The elder said, "Haven't got that either." Xingzhe said, 12 or so will do as well." The elder chided, "This unruly monkey won't quit pestering. None at all. Get out, get out." Xingzhe laughed and said, "If you really don't have any, I shall ask somewhere else for a cure then." The elder shouted, "Out, out, out." And so the great sage turned around and strode forward to leave. The elder suddenly thought to himself, "This monkey is quite the lazy type. He is leaving as soon as I told him to. Could it be that he will sneak inside to steal instead?" He immediately ordered the immortal youths to call Xingzhe back in and said, "You monkey do not have stable hands and feet. I might as well just give you 1 soul-restoring pellet of 9 turns." Xingzhe said, "Old fellow, if you're aware of Elder Sun's ways, then just get all the golden pellets out and split them 4 to 6 with me. That will count as your blessing. Otherwise, I shall grant you a trick of the leather skimmer and rub the place clean." The elderly patriarch then brought over his gourd and turned it upside down. A golden pellet fell out and was handed to Xingzhe. He said, "This is the only one. Take it away. Take it away. I'm giving you this 1 pellet so you can bring the emperor back to life. This will count as your merit." Xingzhe received it and said, "No need to hurry. Let me give it a taste in case it's a fake. You can't fool me." He then popped it into his mouth. Panicking, the elderly patriarch went up and grabbed him by the scalp. Through his fist, he scolded, "If you unruly monkey have swallowed it, I will have you killed right away." Xingzhe laughed and said, "Look at you. Look at how petty you are. Who is eating your pellet? How much could something this useless be worth? Isn't it right here?" It turned out that the monkey had a pouch under his chins. He was only keeping the golden pellet in the pouch. The elderly patriarch shoved him and said, go now, don't ever come pestering here again." Only then did the great sage thank the elderly patriarch and departed the heavenly palace of Tushta. Look at him leaving the pearly arches in 1,000 rays of auspicious mist, descending upon the mortal world, surrounded by countless clouds of blessing. In mere moments, he had left the southern gate of heaven and made his way back. The sun was already rising. He landed his cloud and came straight to the mountain gate of the Baolin Monastery, where he could still hear Ba Jie crying. Suddenly approaching, he called, "Master!" Sanzang said in delight. "Wukong is here. Is there any medicine?" Xingzhe answered, "Yes, there is." Ba Jie said, "How could there not be? Even if he had to steal, he will manage to steal it from someone." Xingzhe laughed and said, "Brother, move over for now. There is no need for you anymore. Wipe your tears and cry somewhere else." He then instructed, "Sha monk, go fetch some water for me to use." Sha monk quickly headed to the well at the back. There was a bucket conveniently hung inside. He then collected half a bowl of water before handing it to Xingzhe. Xingzhe received the water, then spit the pellet from his mouth before placing it between the emperor's lips. Parting the man's teeth with both hands, he washed the golden pellet down his stomach with a mouthful of clear water. Half a shichen passed, but there was only grumbling from his stomach, while the body remained immobile. Xingzhe said, "Master is messing with me. If not even a golden pellet can revive him, isn't this forcing elder Sun to my death?" Sanzang said, "There is no way that this won't revive him. For a corpse that has been dead for this long, how can it swallow the water? So it must be the divine power of the golden pellet. Since the golden pellet entered his stomach, his intestines began to hum. The humming of the intestines is a sign of his blood and pulses moving in harmony. But his breath has died, so he cannot stretch back to life. Speak not of a man who was soaked in a well for 3 years. Even raw iron would have rusted by now. His primal breath is completely gone, so someone just needs to give him a breath of air by mouth." Ba Jie went up and was about to do that when Sanzang grabbed him and said, "You can't do it. It has to be Wukong." The master was very adamant about this because Zhu Bajie grew up sinning through hurting lives and eating humans, which resulted in a turbid breath in the mouth. Xingzhe, on the other hand, had cultivated since a young age and lived by chewing pine cones and eating fruits. He had a pure breath in his mouth. And so the great sage went up and aimed between the emperor's lips with his sharp mouth before blowing a breath into his throat. The air traveled through his windpipe and lungs and arrived below his stomach before running down to the bottom of his feet and heading back to the top of his head. With a loud swoosh, the king's breath and consciousness returned as he rolled over and flexed his fists and feet, calling, "Master!" Kneeling on both knees in the dust, he said, "I only remember paying you a visit the night before as a ghost. Who would have thought that I could return to life before the day's dawn?" Panicking, Sanzang helped him up and said, "Your Majesty, this has nothing to do with me. You should thank my disciple instead." Xingzhe laughed and said, "What are you saying, master? As the idiom goes, there are no two masters of one single family. You're not undeserving of his courtesies." Sanzang felt very sorry about it, so he helped the emperor up on his feet before entering the meditation room together. He then paid his respect to Ba Jie, Xingzhe, and Sha monk before sitting down. The monks of the temple had only just prepared a vegetarian breakfast and were about to serve the food when they spotted the emperor in wet clothes. Each and every one of them were thrown into alarm and suspicion when Sun Xingzhe jumped out to say, "Monks, be not startled. This is the king of the Black Rooster Kingdom. He is your true lord. 3 years ago, a monster harmed his life, and it was Elder Sun who resurrected him the night before. We will now take him into the city so to demonstrate right from wrong. If you have a meal ready, just bring it in so we can eat before we head out." The monks immediately served hot water so the king could wash his face and change his clothes. They took off the emperor's robe of yellow ochre. The imperial monks of the temple gave him 2 cloth robes to wear instead. He also took off his jade belt and replaced it with a yellow silk sash. His warriorless shoes were taken off, and they gave him a pair of old monk shoes. After finishing their vegetarian breakfast, they went to prepare the horse. Xingzhe asked, "Ba Jie, how heavy is your luggage?" Ba Jie answered, Big brother, I carry the same load every day, so I have no idea how heavy it is. Xingzhe said, Split your load into 2 halves. You can carry 1 half and let the emperor carry the other half. We've got to hurry into the city and get down to business. Overjoyed, Bajie said, What blessing, what blessing. When I carried him up, who knows how much effort it took me. Now that he is back to life, it turns out he's my replacement. The fool resorted to mischief and divided the luggage into halves as he asked the temple for an extra flagpole. He picked the lighter items to carry himself, while the heavier ones went to the emperor. Xingzhe laughed and said, Your Majesty, if we make you dress up like this and carry our luggage as you travel alongside us, would you feel mistreated? The king knelt down in haste, saying, Master, you are like my parents of rebirth. Speak not of carrying some baggage. I am more than willing to hold your horsewhip and straighten your stirrups. I'll do anything to serve the elderly lords, even heading together to West Heaven. Xingzhe said, No need for you to go to West Heaven. I do have a secret reason for this, but you only have to carry the load for 40 li on our way to the city. Once we have captured the monster spirit, you will go back to being the emperor while we resume the journey for scriptures. Bajie heard that and said, If that's the case, he is only carrying it for 40 li, while old Bo remains a permanent laborer. Xingzhe said, Brother, quit the nonsense. Let's head out soon and lead the way. And so, Bajie indeed led the emperor and walked at the front. Meanwhile, Shamak helped his master mount the horse, and Xingzhe followed them from behind. The 500 monks of the temple were all present and played music as they sent the guests out of the mountain gate. Xingzhe chuckled and said, Monks, no need to go this far. I fear people from the government might sense something and leak the timing of my plan, which will just ruin the whole thing. Head back now, head back now. However, you should clean up the emperor's clothing, hat, and belt, either tonight or tomorrow morning. Send them into the city, and I shall make sure you're rewarded as thanks. The monks received his instructions before making their way back. Xingzhe then caught up to his master in wide strides as they moved forward. Master and disciples were on the road for less than half a day before the city was near in sight. Sanzang said, Wukong, the place ahead must be the Black Rooster Kingdom. Xingzhe said, It is. Let's quickly enter the city and get down to business. Master and disciples entered the city and found the people on the streets tidily dressed. It was quite the bustling sight. Soon, they also spotted the phoenix towers and dragon buildings, and they were amazingly grand. Sanzang got off the horse and said, O disciples, let's all enter the royal court to process our travel documents. Saves us from the trouble of having to head to some lower department. Xingzhe said, That's very reasonable. Let all of us brothers go inside. It's easier to make the argument when we have the numbers. The Tang monk said, You can all go in, just don't be rude. Perform the courtesies between an emperor and his subjects first, before you speak. Xingzhe said, By courtesies between an emperor and his subjects, do you mean prostrating? Sanzang said, Yes. You've got to prostrate 5 times and kowtow 3 times as the greatest courtesy of all. Xingzhe laughed and said, Master is quite useless. If we are performing courtesies to him, it would truly be unwise. Let me go inside first. I have my ways around these things. If he has something to say to us, let me give the replies. When I bow, you will bow too. Should I squat, you will squat too. Look at the Monkey King who was there to start trouble. He went all the way before the court entrance and said to the envoy of the gates, We are sent by the emperor of Great Tang in the land of the East, and will be heading to West Heaven to see Buddha and seek scriptures. We have now come here to process our travel documents. If you don't mind, your honor, please deliver the message, so the good merit is not delayed. The officials then entered the central gate and knelt down before the scarlet steps, reporting, There are 5 monks outside the court entrance. They claim to be imperial envoys from Tang in the land of the East, who are heading to West Heaven for Buddha and scriptures. They are here now to process their travel documents. Not daring enter without permission, they are now waiting for your summons outside the gate. The Monster King quickly ordered to have them summoned. The town monk thereby entered the court gate, with the revived king following along. He was walking when tears fell from his cheeks, as he thought to himself, "Poor me! 'Tis my copper held the nation and ironclad the land, only to be secretly stolen for himself." Xingzhe said to him, "Your Majesty, don't you get emotional, for this might leak our plan. The rod is hopping inside my ear and determined to make a name today. It will certainly kill the monster and sweep away all that is evil. The nation will soon be back into your hands." The king dare not break his promise, so he pulled at his clothes to wipe away the tears, ready to risk his life to follow their lead.